Who's actually going to get the most out of the LEICA Geovid Pro 32, who can safely walk away, and does the price make sense for a regular weekend hunter or birdwatcher? Those are the three questions that keep me up at night whenever a new piece of gear lands on my radar. If you're on the fence about whether compact rangefinder binoculars are worth the hype, you're not alone. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break down what you'll actually experience in the field, where the value really lives, and why this isn't just another glossy selling point. First off, the very idea of a compact and powerful binocular sounds almost paradoxical. Most hunters I've spoken with tell me they trade off size for magnification or range-finding accuracy, and birders often sacrifice rangefinding for a lighter profile. The LEICA Geovid Pro 32 tries to bridge that gap by delivering an 8 magnification in a 32mm objective lens, all tucked into a rugged, weatherproof shell. In practice, that means you can slip it into a backpack without feeling like you're lugging a small telescope, yet still get a clear view of a deer at 300 yards or a flock of geese at 500 yards. The moment you click the rangefinder button, you see the distance pop up on the integrated display, and the Bluetooth connection can push that data straight to a phone app if you want to keep a digital log. Now, the first real-world test is what happens when you're on a windy morning in the hills, trying to lock onto a moving target while the temperature drops below freezing. Because the binoculars are built to IPX8 water resistance, a splash of rain or a brief dip in a stream won't fog the optics or short out the electronics. I've seen hunters pull them out of a wet pack, crank the range timer, and still get a readable distance within a second. That speed can be the difference between a well-timed shot and a missed opportunity. The fact that the range timer works in sub-zero conditions is a concrete advantage for anyone hunting in northern climates. On the flip side, the compact design does impose a practical limitation. Eye relief is tighter than you'll find on larger, traditional binoculars. If you wear glasses, you may need to adjust the focus knob a bit more often to get a full field of view. In my experience, it's not a deal-breaker, but it adds a small friction point for glass wearers who are used to the generous eye relief on bulkier optics. That's something to keep in mind if you plan to use these binoculars for extended birdwatching sessions where you'll be scanning the sky for long periods. Another factor that often gets overlooked is the battery consumption of the built-in ranging laser. The Geovid Pro 32 uses a rechargeable lithium-ion cell that lasts around 1,012 hours of intermittent use, according to the manufacturer's specs. In the field, that translates to a full day of hunting or birding with occasional range checks. However, the battery does drain faster if you keep the rangefinder button pressed continuously to track a moving object. For a typical day-long outing, I'd recommend packing a small portable charger or spare battery, especially if you plan to rely heavily on the Bluetooth sync to log distances in real time. Let's talk about the applied ballistics you feature that LEICA touts. In plain English, that is a preloaded ballistic profile that calculates drop and angle based on the distance you see on the screen. For a hunter who knows their rifle and ammo, the device can spit out a holdover point directly on the reticle, cutting down the mental math you'd otherwise have to do. I tried it with a .308 rifle and a standard 168 grain bullet. The holdover suggestion was within half an inch of what my own ballistic calculator predicted at 300 yards. That synergy saves a few seconds in a high-pressure scenario. That said, if you're a casual shooter who doesn't keep a detailed ballistics chart, the feature feels like an extra layer of tech you'll never really use. What about the price? At around $1,300, the Geovid Pro 32 sits in the premium tier of both binoculars and rangefinders. For someone who already owns a pair of solid binoculars and a separate rangefinder, this might feel like an unnecessary overlap. However, if you've been juggling two pieces of gear, say a lightweight binocular for travel and a heavier rangefinder for hunting, this combination could consolidate your setup and reduce the pack weight overall. In that sense, the value is more about the convenience of having two tools in one, rather than any single spec beating out a dedicated device. Who should buy it? If you're a hunter who spends most of your time on the move, you value fast distance readouts, and you're comfortable with a slightly tighter eye relief, this is a solid match. The waterproofing, rapid range calculation, and ballistic integration are aligned with the needs of a field-ready shooter. Also, avid birdwatchers who travel light and want occasional range data for research purposes will appreciate the compact,